McGee's Alice. This series and the sequel Alice Madness Returns in particular have quickly become some of my favorite games of all time. In fact, I skipped my high school graduation so I could play this game. So isn't it perfect that there's not one, but two incredible figure series, one for each game? Now, I won't waste any time, and I'll say that there's not really any figures that I wish we got that we didn't. Every main character and most of the side characters got figures, with many of the classic iconics getting multiple variants. Alice herself got multiple of the unlockable outfits released as well. They really did make the perfect figures for these games. But there's always a catch, and here it's a rarity. I've been seeking these out for a while, and I'm pretty good at tracking stuff down, and I can't even find these. At least not for a good price. I've talked to a few comic book stores owners about them, and even they can't track them down. So these are definite grails for me. First toy line was released from 2000 to 2004 by the defunct toy company Milo's Workshop. Most of the figures here work for either game, with the exception of Alice, who looks far younger and much more like her low poly model from the original. The main figures released in the set were Alice, who came with the Cheshire Cat, the White Rabbit, the Mad Hatter, the Caterpillar, Card Guards, the Jabberwocky, and Tweedledee and Tweedledum. These figures all hella rock, and I'd love to have each and every one of them. Like I said, they all have a very early 3D feel to them, and I personally love that aesthetic. In my opinion, I'd say the Jabberwock is the weakest, simply because of the beast's design, being a fairly standard fire demon Balrog monster. Other than him, Alice can be skipped, if only because I feel the later figure is better, but that's totally up to personal opinion. Finally, for this first set of figures, they released a variety of exclusive palette-swapped variants to stores like the very nostalgic and sadly defunct EB Games. Firstly, there's a few different sets of card guards you could get with varying suits, as well as a version of Alice with some hot black lipstick. I do mean hot. As well as a Cheshire Cat getting a mysterious green glow that was exclusive to Tower Records. A Bloody Alice variant that features I'm pretty sure is just a normal Cheshire Cat, was exclusive to EB Games, and a black colorway of the White Rabbit was also exclusive to EB Games. One final note for the classic era of Alice is this mini pewter figure of the Cheshire Cat that was released at some point and seems to be a scaled down version of the main Cheshire Cat figure that came with Alice. Quite a while later, at the arguable height of emo culture back in 2011, filled with the arcane essence of Jack Off Chill and I Hate Sex, the long-awaited sequel Alice Madness Returns was released, and it lived up and way outblew any expectations set for it. While the original Alice was at its core a fairly simple Quake clone with amazing characters, atmosphere, and story, all that was turned up to 12. With an incredibly unique and fun hack and slash gameplay, the game sadly only sold around 20k copies in its first week on consoles. But surprisingly, Diamond Select would reveal a number of new highly detailed figures based on the brand new and already cult classic game. Starting with this set's version of Alice Little, and I'll just say it's perfect. The only thing I could complain about is wanting the rest of her arsenal, but the weapons they do provide are probably her most iconic. Next up is the Cheshire Cat, and this time he's his own figure and fully articulated. This frail little cat can pose super well, but doesn't come with any accessories, so it would have been cool to throw in some of the snouts or the memories you can find throughout the game. But it's still a great figure. Next up, and the last new character in the wave, is the Card Guard, which has a sick punched clover through his chest with some gnarly viscera detailing in the cross section. The final two figures are more variants of Alice, but these ones are definitely the coolest variants. The first of the variants is Alice in her royal outfit. While definitely not my favorite alt costume, it is probably the most popular, so it makes sense why it was chosen. The next figure is of Alice in her hysteria mode. Now this is probably my favorite. Of all the variants, its siren-esque look is just super freaky and hella appealing to me, in a few ways. These two are great additions to any collection, but where they falter is in the accessories, as they're just the same, and I may be repeating myself, but why couldn't they just have thrown in the umbrella or iPod? And I can't move on without mentioning the lack of a variant showing Alice in her real-world attire, which is definitely my favorite look in the game, aside from the classic iconic. And that's it for traditional action figures from American McGee's take on Alice. But there's a few more straggler items I'd like to bring up before I close out. Firstly, and most interesting to me at least, is the Minimates figure, released as an SDCC exclusive in 2011. I don't own any Minimates, but I appreciate the attempt at an articulated LEGO minifigure type thing. Now, next up is a 9-inch tall statue of Alice from Diamond Select's Femme Fatales line. It's a nice figure, you know, I like it. Not my personal thing, I like articulated stuff, but it's nice. Finally, and the most far removed from my forte of action figure realm, is this official replica of Alice's classic iconic Vorpal blade. This is cool. That's all I have to say about it. It's been well over 10 years since the last Alice game, and I really don't think we'll ever get a new one. At least, not anytime soon. While anyone who plays this game instantly falls in love with the gothic steampunk take on Wonderland, just not enough people have actually played it, and until this game can really make its way back through some TikTok trend or whatever, I really think it's unlikely we'll see anything else released. So you'd better get your hands on these while they're at the prices they're at now, which is already a lot, because the cult fandom is only going to grow, and these amazing, amazing figures just continue to increase in value and in scarcity.